Hi everybody, Alex Stephenson here with SeemsGoodMagic.com for an Innistrad Swiss draft. We open Sulphur Falls, not going to first pick that. Looks like I'm looking at the Invisible Stalker, and I think that's pretty much just the strongest pick here. Otherwise, the next probably strongest pick might be something like Spectral Rider, which is a little too deep white. Yeah, nothing else really. It's pretty much just the Invisible Stalker and maybe like Delver or something, but no, I'm fine with picking Invisible Stalker. There's plenty of tools you can get that just make this guy insane. Okay, so what do we follow the Invisible Stalker pickup with? Well, we have the Aura, which we could play on him, which I'm pretty sure I don't want to second pick that. Runechanter's Pike, which probably would have been fine to pick here if I'd first picked the Delver, because they kind of go hand in hand. But, blue-black is an archetype, so do I want to grab a black card? But none of them are really interesting in here. I think I'm just going to go with the strongest card in the pack, which I believe is just the Travel Preparations. So, yeah, we only first picked an Invisible Stalker, so even though this isn't either of the same colors, it's just the best card. So I'm going to pick it. Hopefully you don't regret that. Oh, I don't think we're going to. Okay. So, picks here are Grasp of Phantoms pretty much. Stitch Drake is still good, and Into the Maw of Hell and Rage Thrower. Those are good cards too. Parallel Lives is fun, but I'm just not quite in the mood to try and force that. And I really like blue in this format a lot, so even though I second picked Travel Preparations, I think I'm fine with just picking a Grasp of Phantoms here. Getting another really awesome blue card. And it's foily too. Okay, well, do I want to do blue-black? If I do, I think I just pick the Forbidden. Even if I'm not necessarily black, I'm pretty sure Forbidden's just the best for blue with all the stitched and scab guys. Nothing else really standing out as remarkably good in this pack. Chapelgeist is fine. Elder Cathar is decent. Tribute to Hunger is like okay, not great. But I think we just grab Forbidden. No problem with that. That's a strong card. Well, suppose we can just grab a second Forbidden. This card's never bad for blue. Yeah. Okay, now another blue pick. Dissipate or Claustrophobia, and I think I'm just going to go with Claustrophobia, get a nice solid piece of removal, one of the best in the format, and certainly the strongest for blue, as in terms of, straight up remove it. So, Claustrophobia is fine. Okay, well, Makeshift Mauler is a great pick to follow up these double Forbidden Alchemy, so I think it's pretty safe to say we're just moving into blue-black now. Settling into that. I guess not necessarily black either. We don't even have to move into black. But this Moan of the Unhallowed is tempting me too. Especially since I'm going to be milling myself already with Forbidden. Also could just grab another Claustrophobia. I don't necessarily have to do blue-black to make Makeshift Maulers work, if I already have double Forbidden Alchemy. But I'm trying to think a power level between Moan of the Unhallowed or Claustrophobia. And I think Moan of the Unhallowed actually just wins games. And I'm going to pick that. Even though that moves us a little further into black, which we don't know if we necessarily are yet. I think that's just fine. I can pick Typhoid Rats here. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Just because something early to die that I can, play a Makeshift Mauler with later. Or possibly Stitch Drake. Scab Goliath, if I see any. Rotting Fen Snake is gonna be fine. It's a zombie. A lot of zombie interactions like Ghoul Raiser and Ghoul Caller's Champ in this format, stuff like that. 5-1 for 4. It's not great, but not terrible either. I'm on the fence about Fen Snake. I don't know exactly how I feel about him. I'm on the fence about Fen Snake. Nice. It's almost LSV humor for you. Okay, well, I think actually Mulch is going to be the pick here since we already have a double Forbidden Alchemy mill. Um, I've just been watching those Josh Frankel drafts, so if I end up getting a spider spawning, this deck could actually be pretty insane. But I'm going to have to see a spider spawning to really try and move into that archetype. I suppose I can actually pick the Spectral Flight, just because something I can do to this Invisible Stalker. I mean, this is a acceptable sideboard card. Not a great one. I suppose I'll just take it. Frightful Delusion. Not a super playable card, but sideboardable in a pinch. Why don't we hide some stuff for now? I don't think that this is going to happen. I don't think I'm going to make travel prep work, unfortunately. Okay. Well, I actually like Undead Alchemist a lot. And actually with Spectral Flight, Undead Alchemist gets even stronger. Even if you Spectral Flight your Fen Snake after playing an Alchemist or something like that, that can just end a game. Yeah, I just like Alchemist a lot. I think he's great. So I'm going to pick him. He actually makes Cobbled Wings a reasonable pick too. Wow, okay. Well, not too much for us other than the Grasp. So I think that's a pretty easy pick for us here. The only other option would be like a Typhoid Wretch, which is certainly not on the same power level. So Grasp it is. Happy to get that. Okay. Only 5 creatures so far, but we're only on pack 2. Guess we already have a lot of 4 drops, but I can easily cut this Fen Snake for another Mauler. I mean, we're almost borderline like mono blue right now, the way it looks. I think Mauler is actually better than the Scab, and even though we only have the 2 Alchemies and the Mulch right now to make it work, I mean, Battleground Geist is a strong card too, so maybe I should be considering that. But I just really like Makeshift Mauler, and the fact that it's a zombie, so it kind of works with Undead Alchemist too. Yeah, I'm going to pick a Makeshift Mauler. Even though it's another 4-drop, clogging us a little bit in the 4 drops. I think that's going to be okay. Well, I wanted to do green, blue, but that requires a spider spawning. Yeah, it requires a spider spawning. I don't know what else to say about it. Suppose take another 4-drop zombie? Does that seem very good? Probably not, huh? Vampire Interloper. This doesn't really look like an Interloper deck, though. Honestly. Does not. What do I want to pick instead, though? Another 4-drop? Why don't we hide the Fen Snake? Because I'd feel comfortable upgrading that into a Abattoir Ghoul. Another zombie. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Spider spawning. Okay, good. So now I feel a lot more comfortable about trying to do green-blue now that we actually have a spider spawning. Although that doesn't work that well with double Makeshift Mauler. I think I'd rather do this shenanigan, at least try it out. Especially since I already have the Mulch and the double Forbidden Alchemy. I can get more tools to make that work. So I'm passing a Stitch Drake, but that's fine. I'm good on these guys if I'm going to do spider spawning. Just want to grab more of these and cheap creatures and stuff. So let's try and make this work, huh? Okay, Deranged Assistant is definitely part of this strategy, and this strategy too. Even though these don't interact, Deranged Assistant is just good, especially since we have so many 4-drops. It's a little bit clunky. Gnaw of the Bone would also be an acceptable pick, because you want to get one of those to, get some more value for having a lot of creatures in your graveyard. So I think, yeah, Deranged Assistant is just fine. Alright, well, I think it's pretty obviously just the Geist Catcher's rig. Another little removal, and just a really good one. Kills flyers, pretty strong card. Passing travel prep, but we're definitely, I don't think we're white. That's pretty established. And Ghoul Razor is not necessary. Neither is the Chant. So yeah, Geist Catcher's rig, which is actually a pretty late rig. Yeah, we want to mulch here. I mean, ideally we pick up another spider spawning, but if we don't, double mulch, double Forbidden Alchemy is a lot of milling myself. Another 4-drop creature or a combat trick. I want more creatures. Infestor Hydeboar is good, but once again, we have a lot of 4-drops already, which is a little bit clunky. I mean, I guess we have stuff to do early in the double mulch. We don't have a ton of things that I want to do the Spidery Grasp to. I suppose we'll take a boar. We are definitely heavy in 4-drops, but I think that's okay. None of this is very good for us. So I suppose we take the Furor of the Bitten, interestingly enough, just because we don't look super fast, so having some outs to a super fast deck would be nice. I think Orchard Spirit pretty much far and away is the strongest card for us. Not necessarily part of the strategy at all, but acceptable. This is a sideboard card we could use. I'm gonna hide it though. Got another mulch. Wow, 3 mulch. And an Awe to the Bone. Okay, well that's kind of cool. You get these super late picks in this archetype. Certainly need more creatures. Would ideally, if we get a second spider spawning, this deck would look insane. As is right now, it looks acceptable. It looks pretty good. We definitely already, just between triple mulch, deranged assistant, double Forbidden Alchemy, we certainly have enough to run double Makeshift Mauler and spider spawning. So that's kind of a relief. Okay, so pack 3. Slayer the Wicked, which is very good against us. We have plenty of zombies with that wants to hit. But I think we're just going to have to go with the Scholar. Get another creature and one that can kill our opponents as well as fill our graveyard for maulers and spider spawning. So that is, yeah, definitely the pick here. Okay, now what? Falconwrath Noble is another 4-drop, but we're already, I guess we're actually not committed to black. We have much more green now. So possibly just another, the Pilgrim, go a little deeper green. I mean, I don't want to pass the Noble, but am I actually going to play the Typhoid Rats and the Moan of the Unhallowed and the Abattoir Ghoul? 3 good black cards. But I want to do this spider spawning thing, you know? Power level of Falconwrath Noble is very high. And because I have triple mulch, I can actually pretty easily play it. But it's another 4-drop, which I didn't want to grab anymore. I mean, I'd certainly play it over Fester Hydeboar, I suppose, so maybe this isn't even really an issue. Prey Upon is also strong, but is it necessarily strong in this deck? It's good with the Makeshift Maulers. Not much else. 5 seconds left. Ugh, I have to pick another 4-drop. Falconwrath Noble, I don't really feel comfortable passing that. It's so strong. Passing, I mean, getting a 3rd Grasp. Do I just go ahead and grab that up too? We certainly don't have a lot of early creatures, which is a problem. This like time walks your opponent though so hard. Silent Departure is very strong too, as is Victim of Night is strong. Get another creature. Both of those are very acceptable creatures. God, I'm not exactly sure. We're only at 12 creatures right now, which is not a ton for spider spawning or makeshift maulers. Just grab up a 3rd Grasp though. I mean, these things in multiples is just out of control. You can just totally annihilate your opponent with that. Don't have a ton of finishers besides the spider spawning though. I guess the maulers are kind of a finisher too. think I actually am going to go with the Battleground Geist. Weird pick, I know, over the grass, but I really want to make sure I have enough creatures to make this spider spawning worth it. And since we already have just a ton of 4-drops that are all really good and playable, definitely you could argue for Grasp there, since we have a reasonable creature here in the Screeching Bat, which I think I'm just going to pick that. And we're just full on 3-color. Hopefully Triple Mulch is going to be able to help us with that. We have this Invisible Stalker, so I think Cleaver, just because of how strong these two are together, maybe I should just pick the Cleaver. I think I have to. Just those two together is broken. But Traveler's Amulet would also be a reasonable pick, since I certainly want to play 3-color. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play this Moan, unfortunately, because I want to be less super deep black. I'm playing Screeching Bat as a 3-mana 2/2 flyer, pretty much. Yep, I think we have to go with the Cleaver here over the Avacyn's Pilgrim, just because of how strong it is with Stalker. It's just too ridiculous. Could get another Forbidden Alchemy. I don't know if that's necessary. I think we get... This is the kind of deck that wants to just get early stuff to hold down the fort until we can get to our huge spider spawning. So, I think Typhoid Rats. Sharpened Pitchfork is really good with Typhoid Rats too, by the way, but yeah, we'll just grab up another Typhoid Rats here. Well, I mean, I really want the removal. Ideally, a Shimmering Grotto would be really nice, though, to help fix for our black or green. Get it with the mulch. How many removal spells do we... I don't know if I ever really feel comfortable passing a Deadweight, but I mean, well, we're certainly splashing for black. Deadweight or Shimmering Grotto are the real clear choices for me here. Diregraph Ghoul and Somberwald Spider are certainly acceptable, but I think I actually want the removal spell. I want to make sure I can survive to late game. Dark Thicket Wolf is a totally acceptable 2-drop card. Creature who happens to be really good. Suppose we take the Naturalize for sideboard. Another 4-drop creature. Wow. Okay, I'll take a Moon Heron. It's a totally acceptable one. And we can hide the Fester Hide Boar there. I mean, let's try and... Hopefully we can maximize on our blue here. Just try and splash for the black, but double Typhoid Rat is kind of a sketchy splash. I don't really know. I gotta make this deck work, though. I suppose we'll take a Brainweave, get another creature. We're so heavy in the 4-drops. We'll take the Abbey Griffin just away from our opponents. Sensory Deprivation. Sideboard it, maybe. Okay. Well, we got a spider spawning, which is fine. So, let's see the best deck I can build out of what we got here. Okay, so I built it like this. Had to make a last-second cut of one of the 3 mulches. I just want to make sure our creature count is nice and high for this spider spawning and to support double Makeshift Mauler. It's kind of hard to choose what synergies I want to use, because Spectral Flight is insane with Undead Alchemist, but Butcher's Cleaver is insane with Invisible Stalker, so it's kind of tough to know which one I would prefer to do. Spectral Flight's also really good with Invisible Stalker, so I think I should be strongly considering this card. Just because, I mean, with Alchemist it can just end the game. If you ever get in for 6 with Alchemist, that's gotta just end the game. But we're doing this black splash still, so it's just pretty much these 3 and then the flashback on that. So we're only running 3 swamps, which is not a ton, but hopefully our double mulch can help out with that, which is why I need to run 6 forests. Because if you look by the color, there's actually not much black or green in it. It's mostly just blue. But Yeah, I hope that I don't mill out all of my own swamps and that I can mulch them up at least. But this deck looks pretty good. So, I mean, the plan is pretty much hold our opponents off until we can get a 6 synergy like Invisible Stalker Butcher's Cleaver thing going, or until we can get a huge spider spawning, or until we can, I don't know, land a hit with Undead Alchemist. So, it's pretty much hold our opponents off as long as we can. We don't have a ton of great stuff for that. Thankfully, Dark Thicket Wolf is a nice defensive and offensive creature. I guess Orchard Spirit's more offensive, so maybe this deck's not quite the way I want it. Falcon Wrath Noble is either. It's just an amazing card. I'm still glad I picked that. I guess Abattoir Ghoul is an excellent defensive card, so I have some defensive cards, but because I'm just splashing the black, I don't feel comfortable trying to run the Typhoid Rats. I think it's like a little bit too sketchy to try and do that. I have a decent amount of removal. I guess Gnaw to the Bone might be a choice I should be doing over Orchard Spirit and go to like 13 creatures instead. But I don't know if that's the best choice either. I mean, Orchard Spirit can also end your opponent with a Butcher's Cleaver. That's a fast clock. Yeah, I gotta kind of decide the best way I want to do this deck. I definitely want to do this Spectral Flight. Just the synergy with that and Undead Alchemist is so insanely good. What would I take out for that, though? This deck is already running a lot of good cards that I kind of want to stick around. I mean, if anything, maybe I should be cutting the Screeching Bat for the Gnaw to the Bone and just a little make our Black Splash even less intrusive on the mana base. And that way I can do like Gnaw to the Bone, and it gives us a little more survivability for all our mill that we're going to be doing to ourselves. Does that seem very good? I mean, it seems okay. Instead of Gnaw to the Bone, maybe I do the Spectral Flight instead, just because of how good it is with Undead Alchemist once again. Yeah, let's go for the little synergies, the Spectral Flight, Undead Alchemist, Invisible Stalker, Butcher's Cleaver sort of thing. Plus we have inevitability of spider spawning. Alright, this deck's weird, we're running low on time, so I just gotta submit it, and hopefully this does okay.